Welcome to episode 7 of the Before the Buzzer podcast. Boys, March Madness came and it was rough. I mean, go look at the brackets. I'm doing pretty good personally. I'm not doing amazing, but I'm doing pretty good. Only one Final Four team out so far. Baylor's out. But Alex, Cheyenne, how are you guys doing so far through this bracket?
I'm getting shafted. Utah State, what happened? But I was watching that shit. Like, I was following the game. I was with my brother, and like it was like down at 20 halftime, and I was figuring like there's no way it can get any worse, and then it just kept growing the score. Like I was so confident in that pick of them beating Purdue, and just
Why
it
would
ain't
you
it,
against the GOAT, Zach Edey?
bro.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, bro, it's insane. I mean, I thought they could counter him, but he's just gotten so much better. I'll give him credit compared to previous years. Shout out, gang.
Cheyenne.
But bro, but yeah, like Cheyenne, let's hear what you. It's not as bad as Cheyenne though. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, Cheyenne, you want to remind the viewers of who your national champion pick was?
Yeah, so I had Kentucky winning, and everyone knows what happened with them. Jack Goyley, I don't
Go
even
Leaky.
know his name, bro.
If you guys do
Goiky.
not follow the Before the Buzzer on social media or on TikTok, you should
Hey,
check that
shout out
out
Pitch for the
because
prediction. I mean, you got to give
yeah,
credit where
my
credit's
one my
due, but
one big thing has been Oakland beating Kentucky. That was my big prediction. I did a whole video on it and why they should do it, and I did a reaction video to them winning. I was in a Starbucks with a homeless man going crazy next to me while I was watching the end of the game. I had a math final the next day, and so I was studying while watching the game. And then I
did you do
realized they were
well in
going
the
to pull it
final?
off. Yeah, there was a homeless man tweaking in the corner of my eye while I was watching this shit, and it was it was great. It was honestly amazing. Everything I predicted came true. That's crazy. Like I shouted out Golicki and I said this is a guy who only shoots threes, shoots them at an insane volume at a really high percentage for the volume. I think it's like 37% on like 340 for the season. So that's like 10 a game,
Only
which is
like
like
eight
really good.
two-point field goal attempts.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, exactly. Like it's insane.
That's wild.
But like I was very pleased with that pick, and I was very sad they lost to NC State yesterday because I think they were a true Cinderella. They had a great story, great coach, great everything about them. They were cool as fuck. But yeah, Kentucky, what happened? It's
All
a
right,
shame,
yeah, and
Shannon.
that brings me down to my other Final Four team that's out, Kansas.
That was
I
just
don't
a
really have any
that
rationale
was
behind like any of these picks. It's just like you just go off vibes, and I
Yeah,
thought
just to
Kansas had
clarify, I
I thought
also had Baylor
Kansas
in the
would
Final
have
Four.
solid
That was
vibes,
my
but
other team.
they lost by like 23 to Gonzaga.
well. How about Kansas the first game? Did Kansas get bailed on that block? I mean, I thought
They
that
did. They did. It's
was
insane.
foul. I picked Stanford to win the game. I was mad after the game because I thought they deserved to at least get a shot to go win that game, but they got kind of robbed there.
Yeah,
The
here's
call
the
first
thing.
half.
Like, since I had Kentucky winning, I didn't think they deserved to lose that game. So, but yeah,
How do you?
so far, like my brackets hit kind of in the mud. Like Pritch, I had Utah State beating Purdue too, and like I had a bet on like that Martinez kid. He had 11 points in like the first 5 minutes, then didn't score the rest of the game. I needed over 14 and a half points.
When will you kids learn never to bet against Zach Edey and Purdue? And I think
I
that
mean, he
brings
was
it.
a part of my parlay too. He had it
Well,
pretty quick.
well, we updated our picks, right? Because I think we mentioned, the first time, those were not our final picks. I ended up switching every team except for Houston. So I still have Houston in my final four right now. At the time of this recording, they're up 8 points to Texas A&M. So hanging in there. Looks like they'll move on. Don't want to speak too soon, but looks like they'll move on. I put Baylor in there. That was probably my worst pick. Pritch, you have any thoughts on Baylor's loss today to Clemson?
Yeah. So as I said, I also had Baylor. So I was definitely watching this, and I was seeing them come back right over the second half. They're down relatively big, and then they came back, and then they Clemson kept fucking up. Like they had the turnover, the guy swiped the ball. It was Reggie Dennis swiped the ball off the Clemson guy, and then off of the missed Clemson shot, Baylor got the rebound. They got fouled by the big guy off of Clemson, Hall, and he fouled out. And I don't follow much of Clemson, but they said he was their main guy. He was
Oh,
their one of
PJ
the
Hill
best
is their
players.
best player, and he didn't do
Yeah,
anything today.
exactly. Yeah, and like so when he fouled out, hearing that, I felt very confident in Baylor kind of getting the win, and then Jacoby Walter just had to break 2 free throws they're free for a reason. You're down
Yeah.
to 35 seconds left. That is 2 free throws, guaranteed free throws is perfect. Like it's kind of everything was going their way, the momentum, and they fucked up. And after that guy Hall fouled out, they went on like a 6-0 run. So
I will say
I just can't
Walter
believe it.
was the only guy kind of keeping them in the game for a while. They had some stretches where it was only Walter that was scoring. It was ridiculous. No one else on their team could hit a shot. Misi was selling. Everyone on Baylor besides Walter was selling. And then at the very end, it was Walter who missed the 2 free throws. So
I mean,
that one
Dennis
was
had
rough.
27.
Yeah.
Dennis still did
Dennis
27 points.
Dennis did have 27. I was disappointed. I felt like he took a bad shot at the end of the game.
Yeah, he
That three.
did.
I mean,
Yeah,
he had to chuck
weird
one up,
shot.
but I didn't like it.
I feel
And
like in that
then,
situation, you got to go to the basket. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It just feels like
I don't know.
it's a
They had
constant
enough
trend we
time.
see.
Oh, Cheyenne's trying to show the Lakers game. Cheyenne, it's not going to show
LeBron.
talk.
I know, yeah.
What is the Lakers
I'm
game?
just
Hold on,
showing you guys. They're playing
Okay,
the
they're down
Lakers
by
are
4 to the
playing the
Pacers.
Pacers tonight. Yeah, it's
Okay,
rough.
we'll come back to
It's
the
rough
Lakers
out
if we
here.
have time today.
Yeah, we'll come back to the Lakers. But going back to our picks, updated Final Four picks. I don't know if we released them. Cheyenne, did you change your Final Four picks from last time or no?
I didn't change any single pick. I have
Okay.
not looked at my bracket. I didn't even know when I didn't know the day of the tournament starting. I didn't know it was starting that day. I just remember you guys. I remember you guys told me you guys were talking about it in the chat, and I was like, oh shit, it started. But yeah, I did not change anything.
Okay.
I made a couple of changes, I
Yeah,
think.
Rich, why don't you tell
I
me?
had Utah State originally in the championship game, and I moved it to only the Final Four, so thank God for that. That was big. So my Final Four was UConn, Baylor, Duke, and Utah State, with Duke in the final against UConn winning. I feel pretty confident about the Duke pick, honestly.
Duke's been playing really well.
Houston win.
I'm 2 days into college and 3 lectures behind.
Yeah, exactly. McCain's. I feel like people don't talk about how good McCain is. He's legitimately good in so many big stretches for them this season. People think he's just this corny ass light skin, but he's a good player. And I don't see enough draft buzz for him personally. I really like him as he's going to be a very good player at the next level next year and moving
he's
forward.
going to be really good.
Definitely.
The only thing I wish he was just a bit taller. Then that would help him so much. Because what is he? He's 6'3", 6'4".
Right? Yeah,
he's 6'2".
He's 6'3".
I feel like he's I feel like he's not as good of a ball handler, and he's not as much of a passer to be a point guard in the next level. But I can see him being a really good too.
I think next year he could be like a Case and Wallace type of guy. He wasn't necessarily
Isaiah Joe.
He's a guard. Yeah, I mean, a guard on a team where he isn't the main ball handler, but he's a really integral piece where he's really well rounded. Does a lot of great things. Playing off maybe more ball dominant off guard, like Luka or Shea. Something like that would be perfect for him. But I think he's gonna have a great career in the NBA. It just seems like one of those guys. He's gonna stick.
I agree.
Honestly, kind of everything we thought Bronny was gonna be this year at USC. I think he's kind of he's the actual sperm. That's how good he is.
You think you had that type of expectation?
I didn't expect Bronny to be as
I
good
didn't,
as
but I
Jared
think
McCain.
people did. I think in general people thought he would be that player already. Especially after heart attack, I never thought he would be that level, which is why I think he should obviously stay at college. But I think he can. That's kind of the archetype. People compared Bronny to having a Drew Holiday type of future, type of potential, and I think Jared McCain is kind of close, not necessarily Drew Holiday, but that type of player, that all-around kind of really well-rounded role player. Does a little bit of everything, makes his team win kind of guy. And I think Jared McCain could definitely be that. And I think Bronny people thought Bronny would be who Jared McCain is this season. Pre-heart attack.
I also think Bronny he plays on a team with two already really ball dominant guards. So it's really also kind of harder for him to display his skill set in the next level. But
next year hopefully.
Hey, that's him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Bronny's gonna stay. I don't know about you guys. I think
he should stay.
I think he should. I don't.
But I think
I don't
the
know
next
if he
question
will,
becomes: does Bronny? Well, I mean, there's certainly incentives to stay if his dad is willing to play for the Lakers another year and kind of hold out and let Bronny mature another year. I know Lakers fans would be happy if that happened. At least most of them. But would Bronny transfer to a different school after this year? I mean, USC, they're going to lose probably Collier and Boogie, so you have to figure Bronny would be the guy. But I do know, across town, there's a team looking for some guards, and Bronny and
No
UCLA
way.
feed some families.
There is
Why
no way
way?
he goes to UCLA. There's
Why
no
no
way.
way?
Why?
Bro,
I mean,
he
I
would
think
be
USC, like, it's
this would
perfect
be
for him.
like a
Why-
LeBron
why
to the
would-
Miami
why
Heat
would-
move.
Why
No,
would
even
USC
worse
be
than
His
that,
better?
though.
son.
Why
This
would
would be like
USC be
Kobe
better?
going to the Celtics. Like, you know what I mean?
Why?
Like, it's just
Whoa! It's college. There's
okay.
no one has any ties to anything. They don't.
It's a rivalry.
How-
It's a rivalry
No,
thing. I
bro,
mean,
bro.
I don't think he would
USC
do
is
that.
Whoa.
that'd be like a
And
Duke
this,
player going to North Carolina or like
yeah,
North
exactly.
Carolina
It
going to
just,
Duke.
especially once high profile is Bronny
Didn't
already.
didn't
Like, I don't
Crier
think he would do that.
didn't Crier and Houston go from Baylor to Houston this year?
That's not as big as deal
All right,
as
no one cares about like
ECA.
Baylor
Yeah.
or Houston, respectfully.
Okay, no, that's
Sorry,
not
Luke.
true. But I think in this grand scheme of things, I think LA and SC is one of the biggest rivalries in college sports, especially basketball. I mean,
Or the second
football is
biggest one
bigger,
after Duke and North Carolina.
it's up there, yeah. And I don't think Baylor, Houston is on that same level, especially in the national. Because Bronny's such a big figure, it's gonna be such a polarizing move. Even if he transfers to like fucking Iowa State, like people are gonna have opinions about it. People are gonna be, heated necessarily, but they're gonna be like, there's gonna be a lot of conversation about it. And going to UCLA would be kind of insane. Also, there's so much opportunity for him next year in USC. Even if they're going to be a bit weaker, they're going to be playing different competition because they're moving conferences, right? USC, obviously, I mean, they sound like they're in a transitional state in the program. It sounds like in all the interviews, Bronny likes his coach and the coach likes him. Seems like it's a good atmosphere for him and he likes it. And he's very supportive of him during his heart attack stuff. And maybe another program wouldn't be willing to take a chance on him the same way, especially with the media attention that comes with Bronny and the pressure from the fans to play him and to give him what he wants and what big LeBron wants. LeBron. But
you are
yeah, I don't
my
see why he would transfer.
sunshine,
Well,
my
I mean,
only sunshine.
Sunshine, you make
You
me
make me happy
when skies are gray.
I see what you're saying in terms of, the support he got from USC, especially after that, health scare. If, a school showed me that type of loyalty, I would probably stay with them, but not a big fan of Andy Enfield. I don't think USC is winning anything next year. I mean, this was supposed to be the year that they were loaded and they were going to make a run. They didn't do anything this year. You saw signs at the end, but those guys that led them, Collier especially, is not going to be there next year. So I think there's potentially some intrigue if he were to go elsewhere, and I don't think he wants to leave LA. I think LeBron likes being able to go to Bronny's games and having Bronny in LA. I think Bronny likes being in LA. So if he were to transfer, I don't think the UCLA, USC.
I mean, UCLA did
that's
miss the tournament. Like, let's be real. It's not UCLA's in a great position either.
Well,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
I mean,
Comparison.
UCLA is 2 years removed from going to a Sweet 16. Prior to this year, they'd gone to the Sweet 16 pretty much every year. Mick Cronin, and I do think, some people say he wouldn't want to play for a guy like Cronin, but I think Bronny is underrated on the defensive end. He's a good defender. Not a lot of people talk about that, but I think he's a good enough defender where
I feel like that's the only thing people can like really talk about.
Yeah,
this
he
year.
works hard.
Well,
It's like the only
Sneaky
the only thing they
athletics.
do. Like that's why you got the Drew Holiday comparison because he is a good defender.
I think he would fit in pretty well at UCLA, but I'm not here to decide. That's for Bronny to decide. But getting back to this year, our brackets this year.
Here's 10 minutes to mention LeBron.
But off the Bronny tangent, did I finish my final four picks? I don't think I did. Well, I have Iowa State. No. I have Iowa State over UConn, which I only really did that because everyone else is picking UConn, and I felt like if I do that, like I'm probably not going to win anyway.
I picked someone else over UConn, but I'm pretty sure they already lost.
Auburn?
I think it was Auburn.
Yeah, they lost.
Oh, well, they lost. But I picked Iowa State to make it to the national championship and face off against the great Zach Edey in Purdue. And so far, 40-point win for Purdue today. I'm feeling good about the pick. Alex, I know you played a little bit of the 4 and 5 in high school, so why don't you give us your thoughts on Zach Edey so far in this tournament and what you've seen from him? I know he has a lot of haters. He has a lot of doubters. People just say he's good because he's big. I actually think that's a false statement. I mean, if you just look at his fundamentals.
As somebody,
I don't know if it's going to translate to the NBA level, but at least I think for a college guy, he's got some more skill than people think.
Yeah, and there's a difference between being big and then actually playing big and being dominant in that way. As somebody who is big and struggled to be big in that sense, I understand the frustrations where it's like at times it's kind of, if you do something good, you're expected you expected to do it, and if you don't do it, then you're ass, right? It's like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how good you are, you're just supposed to do it because you're big. No matter but how hard it is, or how you're being hit, or how the physicality against you. It's just expectation to be kind of perfect. Whereas regards is a much higher room for mistakes and like errors and turning the ball over just because you can hit a 40-footer, but like he's a very good. I think he's just so many things. He's so dominant. And we've seen bigs like him in college before, bigs who are his height, his size, but they've never had, at least not in my lifetime, in my viewing, have had the dominance of him, and have had the ability to just get anything he wants on the court. We've seen, like, I know UC Irvine. There was a guy called Mamadou, and he was like 7'5", 7'6", and he had nothing offensively compared to Edey. It isn't just a height thing; it's the fact that he's 7'4" and can do all of this. Yeah, and he fits so well for the college game as well. And I think there is more shooting potential with him as well, where I think he can translate to the NBA. I think he can be like a jumbo Brook Lopez. Maybe not initially, but I think he can grow into that. I really like him as a big. I think he's gonna be people hate on him too much. I think he's a dominant inside defender. He runs every game he's in, and I think the only problem in the previous years was his teammates selling him. But this year it seems to be a little bit different, which I was wrong about, I must say. Yeah, so yeah, but at the end of the day, he's still a very good player. He's a very dominant big guy, and I wish I could have been like him. I wish I could have gone sicko mode like he did as often. But his development's been crazy though.
Do you think he's an NBA talent, or do you think that?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely gonna get a chance in the NBA. I definitely think he's gonna, compared to like Drew Timme, right? Who was like a 6'9", undersized center. Like he has the physical aspect in his size, and you've seen he's getting better on the perimeter, defending, moving his feet. Which is something that's very hard for someone his size to do, and it's hard to guard a guy who can move like that. When people compare him to like Luka Garza, right? Luka Garza was like 6'11". He was less special for the NBA. Edey's kind of a very special player in terms of. I mean, look at Boban. Like, if you're big and you can have some kind of impact in any way, you can be in the NBA regardless of your talent. And Edey is way more talented than Boban is, in my opinion. He's definitely gonna be a talent in my opinion. Maybe not an elite one, maybe not like a starting center, but like I think as a solid backup, like 18 minutes a game, like that's solid. I don't see why he wouldn't have a solid career, in my opinion.
So in terms of NBA talent, Cheyenne, I know you're able to watch some of the games this weekend. Was there anyone that stood out to you that you're like, man, this guy can really play in the NBA? I didn't think he was, this good, and now seeing him in the tournament, I think this guy can really make the jump and play in the NBA.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking Zach Edey a bit. I really didn't watch him at all like last couple of years. I didn't know what the hype was. I watched the game today. My first game of actually watching him. He's so skilled, man. Like, but the only thing about huh? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the only thing about him translating to the NBA is like I did notice like he did like camp in the paint like the whole game, which I understand why he would. Like he's 7'4", but like I just don't know like really how he would do against like the explosive guards, because it is a guards league now. So I really don't think he will be he could be a starter in the NBA, but I do think he could carve out like a nice little role for himself in the NBA, and like he could like help a team, rebounding, be a good lob threat, and all that.
Yeah, I definitely think like he could give. I think he'd be great on the Celtics personally. I'd love to see him on. So same with him, either him or the Marquette big man, Oso Ighodaro. I'd love to see them on the Celtics. If they get like a late first rounder or like a second round pick, I think they'd be great fits. Especially Edey, because I think he would be just him and Porzingis. Imagine him and Porzingis the front court, or Porzingis comes out the game and you have Edey. That would be an amazing combination, in my opinion. And I think he definitely could give a good role in the NBA. I think he is an NBA talent. Adam, have you seen that's been an NBA talent that you didn't expect?
Here's the thing. I was actually going to bring these two guys up because I think they played in the game of the tournament. I believe it was last night. They played in the game of the tournament. It was Oregon versus Creighton.
Oh, yeah, that's a good game.
Oregon did not – none of their players outside of Jermaine Couisnard and Fali Dante scored in the second half. It was only those two guys that kept them in the game.
And overtimes, too. 2 overtimes.
And I mean, yeah, 2 overtimes, no fear from those two guys. Dante was obviously upset after the game. He felt like he didn't do enough, but I feel like he's just had a dominant run. Starting from the Pac-12 tournament, he's been on an absolute tear. just absolutely dominant in the paint, offensively, defensively. I was really surprised by his athleticism. I mean, I've seen him before, but he's had some trouble staying healthy, and during this stretch where he's been healthy, he's looked pretty much immovable in the paint. Obviously, he's limited with his shooting, and there's some limitations with that. He's not like a huge player too. He's beefy, he's girthy, but he's not the
He's 7 foot. He's a 7
yeah.
foot. Yeah.
He's not like an Edey like 7 foot,
Yeah,
three.
I feel you.
But he is an athletic guy that can, I believe, play a role in the NBA for a team as a guy that can play a little bit of defense for you, run the pick and roll a little bit. And then his teammate Kuznard, pretty much, I mean, I knew he was a good player, but that 40-point game really opened my eyes to what he has the ability to do. A guy with no fear. I don't know if you guys saw on the telecast, but he did almost a LeBron where he was like looking down and then like looked straight. Did you guys see that? He was like looking down and then like looked up like right into the camera.
Yeah.
Funny moment. But a guy with absolutely no fear. Everyone knew it was going to be him shooting the ball, and he still got his. Hit a clutch three-pointer too, to extend it. I was really impressed with his ability to score at all three levels, and I think he'll be a decent player in the NBA as well. So those two guys from Oregon probably deserved, honestly, to go to the next round. I think Oregon kind of gave away that game. I did have Creighton though, so I was happy that Creighton.
Yeah.
But I will say Oregon probably deserved to win that game, and those two guys were the reason why. They've just been dominant since the start of the Pac-12 tournament, and I think they've really made a name for themselves. I anticipate at least Kuznard will head to the draft, and I would be shocked if Dante didn't as well. But those two,
he's a senior, so he probably will.
Yeah, they really gave it their all for the Ducks this year, and I was surprised. I think those two guys really have shot themselves up draft boards and are going to get a chance in the NBA here. But I think it is interesting how there's all this discussion around Edey and whether he can play in the NBA, because you look at a lot of these centers, you mentioned like Garza and Timmy. Oftentimes, these college legends that are centers don't really pan out in the NBA. So I think it is an interesting discussion with Edey to where, like, does he, do something with his chance? Because we've seen these guys get chances in the NBA. I mean, Garza wasn't a great chance, but he still got drafted. He got a chance.
He still has a chance, though, to be fair. Like, I think Garza could still have that.
Yeah, Garza still has time, but
he's not the impact player, immediately.
Yeah,
not the same as in college. So that brings me to a discussion to where, do you think that this college game is going to change in the near future, where we're going to see less of this traditional dominant big man, or do you think we're still going to see the Zach Edeys of the world, the Luka Garzas of the world, who break records in college, win Player of the Year, and don't really get the same chance in the NBA?
I don't see how it can change in college, because like in college, not everyone is like gonna make it to the next level, and not everyone has those like physical tools where they could really like take advantage of people like these big specimens can, and they could really, and like that's just how it's been like ever since like the college game started, starting with like Kareem all the way to like Luka Garza and Zach Edey. Like they could just dominate from the inside, and the court is just shrunk so much where it's like it's hard for like the perimeter players. They don't have too much space to work with either way, where they could like really shine. That's why like some players like they're like okay in college, and then they just explode on like the scene in the NBA. Like Donovan Mitchell, he was a decent 3-point shooter at like Louisville. Kuzma was decent at Utah State, was it? And now like the 3-point shooting is really elevated like in the NBA. There's so much more space open on the court.
Yeah, I think it's funny also that you mentioned Kareem in the same conversation with Luka Garza. That's the first and last time that's ever going to happen.
Dominant college players.
I mean, even so, but like, but yeah, you were saying about, I don't think the game's going to change that much, just because they are such a matchup problem in the college, and also because the shooting just isn't. It's just a different basketball game, different way of approaching the game, completely to the NBA, and I think it's a good thing. I think that is something that should be preserved. It's a different way of style of play that is kind of going extinct in the NBA, but many college players aren't good enough to run NBA offenses. based so much on 3-point shooting. They're just watching the games compared to like an NBA game is just so different in terms of the ability of the players. Like a guy left open for 3 in college isn't as big a deal as in the NBA. In the NBA, you'd be surprised if they didn't miss it. In college, you're kind of surprised when they do make it. It's just a completely different game. It's just a completely different approach. I mean, you see the scoring as well. Like there'll be games that are like, I think Northwestern FAU was like, what was it, like 20-19 at halftime or something? Like that's like the WNBA.
Oh, yeah,
That's crazy.
That was an ugly game. Yeah.
Wow.
And no, but like honestly, like it's just that's the thing that makes it so different. As you say, guys like Devin Booker, Maxey, who come out of college and just they develop so much in a different setting where they're if you look at guys like Willie Cauley-Stein and Kat split the minutes on the 2015 Kentucky teams, right? And they're both top 5 picks. And look at Cauley-Stein was 6th, but their careers panned out so differently, based on how they could adapt to the NBA game. Cauley-Stein's more of a traditional big man. He was ass. And then Towns was of such a, despite my own personal dislike of his play style, I think he's still an all-star. So all-NBA caliber talent, still a guy that's a centerpiece on one of the best teams in the league. Have to show respect where it's due. I just want him in the all-star game, playing a lot of minutes. But, but outside of that, like, it's just a different game, and that's okay. It's a good thing, in my opinion. I like seeing a disparity.
All right, well, transitioning back to the actual tournament here, we've gotten a chance to see all these teams play a couple games now. I know, Pritch, you're probably satisfied with your team UConn's performance so far.
Very satisfied.
Looks like they've gotten a cakewalk pretty much to the national championship. I think knowing this tournament, Iowa State will probably choke and lose to Illinois, and UConn will walk themselves into the national championship. But so far, any teams that stand out to you? I know UConn's probably the obvious answer here. For me, I mean, I'm obviously happy with how Purdue played today. I think they just had to get that 16 seed game out the way, and now they're ready to roll. Dominant second half for them. No one could stop Zach Edey, not even the great Osibor. Shout out.
Yeah, he's great Osibor. He's such a good player. And I watched the TCU game on the flight, and it was like, I really believed, man. They edged me. Like I really thought they were going to be so good, and like they just splurted all over me. It's insane.
We'll give you another chance. Give me another team outside of UConn that you think is going to make a run at the national championship.
Creighton. I am very impressed with Creighton. I think surviving 2 insane games, like 2 very good games, 2 very games from Cressard and Dante. That was it, right? Sorry, I just clicked off the thing. Yeah. Like I was watching that game, and it's just the composure they had, especially in double overtime. Just they had that next level, so that they were just able to completely dominate them. They won by 13 in the end, which is kind of insane for an overtime period. I was watching that in the Uber, and like I was just very impressed, and I think that they were a very deep team. I love Kalkbrenner as like a potential Edey stopper because they're in the same region, right? I believe Creighton. And so I think if anyone's going to stop Edey, I think Kalkbrenner is one of the top players to that. I like Trey Alexander and Shireman from Creighton too. So I was really impressed, and I think they have the best chance of going to the Final Four of that region now that Utah State has sadly died and gone to heaven, or hell. But let's see, who else is there? I mean, who do you have, Cheyenne? Anyone you've been surprised with? Or
Arizona.
You believe it?
I was going to say.
I believe
Arizona.
Arizona.
Okay, congratulations.
Originally, before my Kentucky pick, I told one of our friends, Brady, that I had them winning the national championship. But then I switched up, went with Kentucky. I got submissive. Didn't stick with my gut. I let prior years change my opinion. But man, one player I've been rocking with though that's new with the team. I love Caleb Love, man. I just love the way he plays. So swaggy on the court. Bro. Dude, I love it. I love Caleb. Oh, no, the audio listening gonna be like, "What? Wow, bro, spasm." No, but I really love Caleb Love's game. Him and RJ Davis, like at North Carolina, couldn't really play off each other as well. Even though they did have that one national championship run in was it 2022? I think it was
22, yeah.
Yeah. And then ever since Caleb Love transferred, I mean both of them have been playing some of playing the best basketball of their careers. And I just really love like what he's brought to the team, his leadership, and I really do think Arizona is poised for a run.
I will say, I would be very scared. I don't have Arizona, so I'm actually very scared of Arizona in a setting where they're going to go to Los Angeles and they're going to play near Tucson. I know their fans will be out there. Clemson will certainly be outnumbered. That will be all Arizona fans there. And then they're going to go play one of UNC or Alabama. I actually have Alabama winning that game in an upset. I thought UNC was going to lose the round before, and now I have Alabama going and beating UNC. But I will say, I don't know if Armando Bacot can go guard Umar Ballo. I don't know if there's anyone in this tournament that can really go guard Umar Ballo besides maybe a Zach Edey or a Klingon from UConn or
Yeah.
a Kleiner from Creighton. I mean, he's one of the most dominant players in all of college basketball. And then you look at their guard play, obviously, of Caleb Love, and the X factor really for them is Kylan Boswell. I mean, they have an 18-year-old point guard going out there and leading them, and when he's on and he's playing well, I mean, no one can beat them. If he's playing an A or B game, no one's beating Arizona in this tournament, and they're going to go all the way to Glendale, where I think if they make it to Glendale, I think they're going all the way and winning the national championship. But I will say there's times where he looks like an 18-year-old. He's not composed, and they kind of need to get the ball out of his hands because he's making bad decisions with it. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there. Now that they're playing Clemson, I don't think they lose to Clemson. I'm hoping they lose to Clemson, but I don't think they're losing to Clemson. And I think it's going to turn into a game where they either get UNC and it's going to be a dogfight, or they get Alabama, and Alabama is just going to have to shoot the lights out and beat Arizona in a track meet. So I think that Arizona is actually set up pretty good. I had Baylor beating them before, and now Baylor's out of the tournament. So I think Arizona.
I hope they play North Carolina, because that would be fun to watch. Like the
That would
Caleb
be fun
Love,
to watch. A
RJ Davis
rematch between Caleb Love and his old team,
Yeah.
North Carolina. And besides that, I mean, the other regions, I like Purdue still. I think Purdue flexed their muscles today and showed why they should still be the favorites, at least in their region. Tennessee looked a little bit shaky against Texas. They still got the job done, but looked a little bit shaky. Creighton was able to come out with that win. I think Oregon is a better team than people give them credit for. I don't think that was a free win. But they're going to face a test in Tennessee. I mean, Dalton Knecht is a real NBA caliber, player. I mean, he is one of the toughest players to guard in the entire country, arguably the best player in the country. And then they're going to have to go play Purdue. So I think Purdue's set up pretty well also. And then obviously UConn, they don't have to play Auburn now. Probably the only test the rest of the way. I mean, San Diego State is up pretty good on Yale, but that is Yale.
Yeah.
So San Diego State maybe could pull off an upset, but it looks like it's going to be San Diego State or Iowa State and UConn in a battle of titans. I think Iowa State is worthy of a 1 seed. I know they didn't look that great in their last game, a little bit shaky. Who'd they play? It was Washington State.
Washington State, yeah.
A little bit shaky in that game, I will say. But their defense is so good where they can turn you over 3 or 4 straight possessions and just bring an avalanche on you. So I think that's gonna be a fun game. I can't wait to see that. I really hope that those two teams are the teams that move on and we get that game, because that will be certainly a treat. I think Iowa State probably poses one of the biggest, if not the biggest threat to UConn in their national championship run, in my opinion. They're just such a tough team. And when you really boil it down to it, I think UConn's built on toughness. I mean, they're going to play all 40 minutes of the game, no matter what the score is, on the offensive and defensive end. It's a military type operation, and it's the same way with Iowa State. They're going to play hard the entire time on both ends of the floor. Both teams, I think Iowa State doesn't get enough credit for knowing what they want to do on every single offensive possession. If you watch Iowa State, they're not standing around handing the ball to one guy. They're moving around. They have set plays that they run. They get the ball into the paint. They know exactly where they want to go. Now, they might not have the best offensive players to where, in the half court, they can score at a high clip. But Iowa State in transition's dangerous, and they'll get good shots. So I think Iowa State poses a big threat to UConn, but right now in this tournament, UConn has looked so dominant that I don't know if anyone can beat them. I certainly hope someone can beat them, so we don't have to watch a repeat. But
I want to
Alex,
repeat. I
is
want to be
there
proven
any
right.
is there anyone that you think could knock off UConn that you've seen?
So on their side of the bracket, no. Outside of Iowa State has a chance, I think, but I think UConn is just so dominant. I think UConn is just a better Iowa State to an extent, based on what you're kind of saying. I've watched too much Iowa State in comparison to UConn, but it just UConn is just everything is drilled down. It's just so works so well. I think and that starts from the coaching. I think Hurley's one of the best coaches in the country. He's proven that over and over again last year, but they were completely dominant. It wasn't just a talent thing last year; just everything just worked perfectly together. They were beating tough teams. They were just blowing them out, and it was a constant thing. And it was just inevitable they were going to win. You could kind of sense it, or at least I could as a fan, right? And this year I think it's the same. I think it's just an inevitability where there's UConn and there's everyone else. That's kind of my observation so far of everything. I really don't think there's anyone that can beat UConn, especially in their side of the bracket. But in total, I think that maybe a team like UNC just with star power could just topple them or something. But I still have UConn in the final, like the final, the actual final, the championship final. And then for the rest of the regions, I guess we'll just go through it real quick. I guess you guys mentioned Arizona. I don't fuck with Arizona after last year. I got suckered in by Arizona just like you guys seem to be getting sucked in. It was very dark last year. I was not happy with that. I was high on Ballo. I was high on Boswell. I thought, he's gonna have a star turn. No, he fucking didn't. So it's just I'm not letting myself get tricked into that again. I still, I guess I have UNC coming into that region just because I don't like Alabama. I don't like any of the teams in that region except for UNC, but I don't have two 1
I will
seeds.
say that.
So it's
I had a hard time picking a team. That's why I picked Baylor. I had a hard time picking a team.
Yeah.
And I felt like Baylor, it was battle tested in the Big 12. Obviously not enough because they look shaky today and obviously paid the price.
Definitely, yeah. I should have probably seen this coming. But oh well.
Arizona over Duke in the Natty. Book it.
I'm good with Duke though. I'll stick with the Duke thing. I'm a big fan of the Duke team. As I mentioned earlier, a big fan of Duke. What? Am I bugging? What's that? What was that? Okay, never mind. Okay, but Duke, Duke is very good, bro. Duke is. I like McCain. I like Filipowski. I think he's very good. I like their whole roster. It's evading me who their names, but every time I'm seeing them, they've been very impressive. And then like one more region, I think the Purdue's region with Gonzaga and then Creighton, Tennessee is probably the best region we have left. It'll be very competitive games all around. Before the tournament, I was pretty low on Gonzaga, but hey, they've been fucking good. They blew out Big Easy, destroying a lot of people's brackets. I had Big Easy in the Sweet 16, so oh well. My girlfriend has Gonzaga winning the whole thing, so shout out to her. She's beating me in our little bracket competition we have. If you want to join, go ahead and
we
join.
forgot to update the bracket. Here we go. Chris Connor is in first place so far. He's about 10 points up on second place here. Low max score though, I will say. Low max score, only 1470. So I'm in fourth place actually right now. Among us, I'm doing the best by a pretty wide margin.
That's us, but
Cheyenne,
I'm like last.
No, well, Cheyenne, I don't think you're last, but you did pick Kentucky to win the national championship. So
you're above me, bro. Fuck off.
You're 10
points above me, yeah. So
Cheyenne,
Rich.
I think
you might have to retire, bro. You might have to retire.
No, the thing is,
no.
I had fun with my bracket. I picked an insane amount of upsets, and like I knew it was gonna fail to an extent, but I
had fun with my bracket.
I nailed it.
I made the bracket 10 minutes before. Okay. I made the bracket 5 minutes before our last episode and did not change it. You did hours of research onto this. You dedicated your life to this.
I got sucked in. Bro, I had NC State in the Elite Eight, and then I switched it up. And, like, they fucking made it to the... Now they're in the 216, and they're looking pretty good with DJ Burns. But same with Colorado into Elite Eight. They fucking lost. It's been a tough tournament, especially because last year I won our bracket tournament. I had the top... Because I guess I had UConn in the final last year. I lose to Arizona, so I had a big advantage over everyone else in that. But yeah, man, I'm in the mud this year. It's been a tough year. This is my UCLA year this year. I'm gonna come back, bounce. I'm gonna bounce back next year, but shit happens.
Every year is a tough year for me.
Alex is in second to last right now. Cheyenne is third to last. But I will say, Alex, you're about like 400, potential points up on Cheyenne. Cheyenne's maxed out at 940 because he picked Kentucky to win the national championship and has like only
gonna
2
lose.
teams. So Cheyenne is on last place watch. That is in the equation here. But we'll move off of it. Just remember, I'm first place among us three. Because I know the most college ball. Let's just leave it at that. But
fair enough. I mean, I know the least college ball, and I'm still in the middle. It's kind of crazy.
Well, let's move to the association then, because I was on Twitter today, and I think it was either 6 Rings of Steel or someone else that tweeted a comparison between Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it was like metrics of, when the players are off the floor and when they're injured, the Mavs were actually worse with Luka Doncic, and the Thunder, in many metrics, were actually better without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I'm not here to, say that the Thunder are better without SGA, obviously. They're not. SGA is an MVP candidate. But if you were to have one of those point guards, I know we talk about the top point guards in the league. You obviously mentioned Steph, Luka, SGA, De'Aaron Fox, Jalen Brunson, those type of guys. Who would you rather have right now? Just right now, not projecting in the future. Just right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic.
Without a doubt, Luka Doncic, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
You want me to go first?
Alex,
I just went, bro. What do you mean?
I'm Shai. I'm my fault. I lagged out. I'm Shai.
All right, Alex, you go.
I'm Shai. Also, I'm looking at the metrics right now on cleaning the glass. It says that Shai's on-off numbers is plus 11. Is that a different stat for his when he's on the court versus when he's off the court? How the team performs?
Or is it like games?
I don't know. I didn't save the tweet, but it was games where he didn't play.
Oh, the whole game, like the whole game.
Games where games where he didn't.
That's play. Okay. That's a really flawed metric because it doesn't account for.
It's a little bit nitpicky. Yes, it is a little bit.
It doesn't account for him resting against weaker teams. It doesn't account for the amount of injuries. He's missed more games this season, Luka or Shai. I don't know.
I believe
Luka probably missed more.
I think it's Luka. I think Luka
missed.
So
different sample size. But of course, they're going to be worse the more games he misses in comparison. You're right, just logically. So I think that's kind of a flawed tweet. But shout out to 6 Rings of Steel for the debate.
I gotta say,
it definitely worked.
I don't know if it was him. I think it was him.
But shout out that OG, man.
Someone on NBA
him and Kenny ran you too. Okay, so Luka's missed 7. Shai's played 7 more games than Luka has this year. I don't know how many games they played. It's probably I think Luka's probably missed 10 or something, and then Shai's probably missed 4 or 5 or something. But even then, that's a stupid metric. But regardless, let's go back to the actual debate. I like Shai more as an overall player. I think he's better defensively. I think he's consistent as famously 31 a night. That's what he does. I don't think he should be criticized in this debate for having better teammates or teammates that can carry the load more. Luka's offense, everything about Luka's the Mavericks team is so through Luka, and Kyrie, but especially Luka, that they just play completely different styles of basketball, and that obviously when you play style basketball that is so reliant on one guy, when that guy is in there, you're just going to suffer more as a team. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that he's better or worse, right? Like I'm sure there were numbers with Harden and LeBron, right? 2018, when Harden averaged 36 a game, and everything was ran through him. That it was probably similar situations, right? But the difference is that Harden was when you run everything through Harden, obviously when Harden's not there, you're not running it through anyone anymore. You're not someone who can play within a system. And I think Luka's kind of a system player where everything has to go through him for him to succeed. And that's what I don't like about him as well, the flexibility. I think Shai's, you can put him in so many different roles and so many different play styles. You can get the best out of him. That's my opinion on him too.
By the way,
Luka has the... Sorry?
No, you go ahead. You finish.
Okay, Luka has the upside. By the way, Luka's probably a more dynamic player. He's going to be the better player probably all time. But right now, I think Shai is who I'd rather have if I was trying to contend and have a number 1 option. But yeah, Adam, go for it, champ.
Oh, well, I was just going to say Houston's in a 3-point game right now, and LJ Cryer is fouled out. So they're in a close
I was just calling. I have it next to me.
They have the ball right now. And, oh, my gosh, they just lost the ball. Well,
Should we do live commentary?
Oh, Texas A&M off the backboard, no good. Rebound, put back up. It's tipped around. It's going to be Texas A&M ball with 9 seconds left. But
Okay, count it
going
down.
back to
Count it
this
down.
discussion.
No, please count it down. Let's hear it.
No. They're taking the ball out. Taking the ball out.
Okay, never mind. Okay. I thought they got a rebound.
Okay.
And it was like they're pushing up for it.
Quick comment on this.
Okay.
It's kind of a question, actually. Does an over-reliance on a player, does a reliance more on a player make a player better, or should that not be taken into account? Because, as you mentioned, Luka, obviously, everything runs through him on the Mavericks. Obviously, on the Thunder, things still run through SGA, and he's still their best player. He's the point guard of the team. If the team needs a shot, it's going to be him taking the shot. But his, dominance over the ball isn't as prevalent as a guy like Luka. Does that make Luka a better player in terms of the team needs to rely on him more? Or is that a thing of, well, Luka needs the ball to be good. He can't do it if he doesn't always have the ball in his hands.
I think it's something in the middle. Like, I think obviously Luka's gonna be great even if he doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time. Like, let's be real here. Like, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, he's a ball hog. He's over. Obviously he's a great
you said that
player.
about Trae Young.
Yeah, well, fuck Trae Young. But like, Trae Young's different though. Like the thing with Trae Young isn't an all NBA player because he has the ball all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like if you take the ball, the thing is with I think that you wouldn't say because Trae and Luka have similar roles, but you wouldn't say Trae is similar level to Luka. He's just just because the Hawks are reliant on Trae doesn't mean that he's on the same level as Luka, right? That's just, but and that's just how good Luka is, where you can be successful even with him doing everything for you. Because usually that's not a path to being a good basketball team. And I think also if one more thing, I think with the record too, like the Mavs just aren't as good as the Thunder, and I think if the Thunder was the same record-ish as the Mavs were the same record as the Thunder, and they were similar level caliber teams, then that would be a fair discussion. But I think that the Thunders are so much better with the way than the Mavs. I don't think it's a discussion personally. But yeah,
I agree with your point about the stats, but I do think Luka's a better player. And going back to what you said, Adam, I don't think you could really hold that against a player like, oh, since one player is more like they need the ball more in their hands for their team to be effective. I kind of look at this like Luka-Shai debate. Like obviously not to the extent, but like kind of like those LeBron like KD debates, like back when KD was on like the Thunder, because like KD he never like was this like super ball dominant player, but he was still like really effective. He could do everything. He could like score the ball. But LeBron like he was like the workhorse. He had the ball like basically all the time. He made all the decisions. He made all the plays for his team. And like each way you could still win games like with like both ways and styles of play. But I just think Luka is like a better player than Shai, because I just feel like I guess maybe like you can't really hold it for like this season, but like in the playoffs, like we've seen Luka, like we know what Luka is capable of, raising his like game to, like a whole nother level. And even like through stretches of this season, he had like a longest streak of like 30-point like triple doubles with like 6 games. Like Luka has been insane this season, and like I feel like he's kind of like getting like overlooked. I feel like he's been kind of underrated because like even though he's doing all these insane things, like,
I don't know about that. I mean,
no, what do you mean?
I wouldn't call him
Bro,
underrated.
he's averaging like
rated.
35, 8, and 8. Like the only thing
He's
is like his
properly
team
rated.
isn't winning.
No one's like, oh, he's not shit. No one's like, oh, he's mid. Like, bro, like, come on.
I know, but I feel like
everyone knows
he's not
one of the best
underrated. He's
players
just
in the
getting
league.
overlooked though, like in MVP conversation.
Okay.
Like that's what I will say.
I do
I mean, his
think
team aren't that good. Like,
yeah,
I
I
understand his team.
I don't think you should hold that really against him though.
An
like,
MVP,
even though
yes,
like
you should.
I will say the
He's an
MVP.
8 seeds, not
like,
MVPs.
The NBA.
Like, I don't think he could be.
He's an 8 seed, but like he's 2 games out of like a 6 seed, bro. Like it could change like in a week, bro.
Okay, so 6 seed, should a 6 seed be the MVP?
Russ won
that's
MVP
one thing.
as a 6 seed.
Yeah,
unless
Jokic won
like,
MVP as a 6 seed.
Jokic was an exception because Jokic's team was literally they had nobody. Like Facundo Campazzo was his point guard. Like he has Kyrie, he has good solid role players around him. Like that team was him and that was him, Jokic, Aaron Gordon, and fucking Vlatko Kankar, and washed up Gary Harris and Will Barton. Like it was not a good team. Like they were all injured. It's just like that's complete. Getting that team to a 6 seed is more impressive than Luka getting this team to an 8 seed.
That's also fair, but also that year the MVP race was not competitive. Like I think
that's fair. But this year it is competitive, so I think Luka
this
just
year it
can't
is
be the
competitive,
guy.
which is I
Yeah.
feel like that's why they're holding up the record against
I think
him
it's
like
just,
so
it's
much.
Jokic this year, in my
Which is
opinion.
like, I guess
Yeah.
like it's alright, but like people have him like fifth, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
will
like the
say,
fifth.
Yeah, he's
guy.
top three.
he
He's
has
top
been
three.
overlooked.
Exactly.
He has been overlooked. I think it's disrespectful that Luka isn't at least top 3 in a lot of these people's MVP rankings. I think the difference between Shea and Luka to me is I look at Luka as a top upper echelon guy, and I'm not saying Shea won't get there. I just don't view him as there yet. I
He's
look at
gorgeous
Shea
as fuck, though.
What?
He's gorgeous as fuck, though.
He's
well,
gorgeous.
His aura,
it's
bro.
a-
His aura. His
Oh,
aura.
his aura. I thought you
That's
said he's
what all the-
gorgeous. Like, I'm like,
That's what all the Shea fans say.
Are we forgetting about
Yeah.
this?
You want to talk about aura now? Huh? You want to talk about aura now?
oh yeah.
Meanwhile,
Remember when you
Houston
were
is sweating
clowning
it.
Adam about the aura?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, guys, hold on. Texas A&M just hit a game-tying three-pointer to send the game.
Oh my god, bro.
Houston is in a sweat, ladies and gentlemen. But
God
getting
damn,
back to this, LJ Cryer is out for overtime. Houston might actually lose this game. LJ Cryer is not playing this overtime, so more brackets might be busted tonight. But I will say, going back to this debate, I think that Shea is a really good player. I'd view him as a top 6 type player, top 7. But I just view Luka as a guy that has best player in the NBA potential. I view him as a guy that right now I believe is a top 3 player in the league. I understand he has some deficiencies on the defensive end. A lot of superstars in this
he doesn't
league.
play defense. Let's be real. He just doesn't play defense.
Yeah, he doesn't play defense. But I mean, there's other superstars in this league that don't play a lot of defense. Let's be honest. We don't give him
on that level.
Steph Curry doesn't play a lot.
Oh, come on, bro. He does. He plays a bit of defense.
Don't even convince me, Steph Curry.
No, this isn't compared to.
I mean,
Luka,
I'm not saying he's not.
Steph
He's not Luka. I'm not saying
Steph
he's
is
Luka.
the league average defender. Give him some credit. He's a league average defender.
All right.
He's
Well,
35 and 6'3".
Jokic is not a great defender. You're not saying Jokic is the best player in the league because of his defense.
He's a good defender. He's a solid defender. He's not a vertical guy. He can move. Yes, he can. He gets steals. He's good hands. He's a solid defender. He's not the same liability.
No one is placing these guys in the top 3 because.
Well, maybe we should. If at that level, at a top 3 level, okay. The thing with Jokic is that he's such a great player offensively, where teams don't lose. He doesn't lose in the clutch because nobody can stop him. Luka, you can stop Luka if his shots aren't falling, if his teammates aren't hitting.
Well, I mean, you can stop anyone if their shots aren't falling, bro.
Jokic, you can't because he'll just pass the ball. He'll find anything.
Luka can pass the ball
Jokic
too.
Luka will pass the ball.
He's a different kind of passing though. It's different. He sees.
Oh yeah, because it's inside out. It's a completely different role.
Exactly, it's a play stopping. It's not something like Luka can necessarily. I mean, Luka can play in the post, obviously, but it's just different. Jokic on a different level, in my opinion. Okay, I don't see with Shea. I think Shea's just a guaranteed bucket. He's same. So I trust Shea a bit more in the clutch, and especially I think in the playoffs, not having a
Well, you trust Shea more in the clutch than Luka. What has Shea done in the playoffs in the clutch that has made?
Not on the regular season. I'm talking about right now. As of right now, personally, I
mean,
just because I think Shea is a more, I think he's a more consistent scorer where he's able to get to his spots whenever he wants to, and he's able to get to the basket, able to get to the line so easily. He's able to use his speed and his body to get to the basket in the same way I think Luka has the liability. He's in as fast or as he's kind of
Luka plays like he's like a Prius. He's
he plays like me, but he's good.
Change of speed, yeah.
He plays like me when I'm playing pickup and I can't, when I'm playing pickup and I just don't take the ball. When I'm playing pickup with I play with these old professors, right? And I play with them and I'm kind of the best player there and everyone knows that kind of, even though I'm not that good, but compared to 50-year-old men, I can hold my own.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Physically, I'm almost at their level, But I kind of play like that where I'm slow and I kind of get to my spots. But I think there's a liability where if you find guys that are quick and can hang with you, it's kind of difficult sometimes. For Shea,
I think part of the thing of why he plays so slow is because he's a lot bigger than people give him credit for.
Fat ass, yeah.
He's got some meat on him, that's for sure. I mean,
pause, bro. What?
Yeah, true. But he's a big physical guy. I believe he is 6'7".
He's 6'7", 230. Yeah,
he's 6'7", 230. Let's just move off that comment. But 6'7", 230. He's got some size to him, and he's a guy that will back you down. He'll beat you from the outside. He's a
With
guy
his
that can
meat,
do it.
yeah.
He could do it at all three levels. Whether it's at the rim, fading away, or at the 3-point line. I mean, I've just seen so many instances where there's really nothing you can do to stop him. I mean, he'll just
Yeah.
step back,
That's fair,
hit a 3-pointer on you. Then you try to double him. He'll break the double and hit a fadeaway shot. I mean, sometimes players
Same
are
with
great.
Shea, though. I mean, I think with the great scores in the NBA, you just can't stop them. Yeah, I think that's the problem now. And that's the thing with college, where you can stop anybody, in my opinion. Where it's like we kind of broken the threshold in the NBA of like just you can't guard some people, which is why I think I've liked the more foul calls in the NBA since the All-Star break. I think that's important. Or less foul calls, more like defensive. More guys in defense are getting more leeway to be physical and to hit people, which I like. I like that. I think it's a good thing. But like you can't really stop Luka or Shea. So I don't think it's really like a debate personally. I also think they play very differently, so it's very hard to compare them. And they're on very different situations and they're asked to do very different things, although they're still asked to be the main centerpiece. And to be fair to Luka, Shea does have a better supporting cast in terms of role players who fit with him. So many good guys on that team which is why I'm very high on them compared to the Mavericks, which I think if the Mavs succeed, it's because Luka goes in nuclear. And Kyrie doesn't say anything anti-Semitic, outside. But with Thunder, they have just such a good, well-rounded roster where I think that regardless of Shea, even if Shea has an off night, they can pull it out without him. But I still like Shea more personally. If I was to start a new team, I'd have Shea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really a preference thing. I think, as you mentioned, Luka's a guy that is probably more prone to carrying a team because everything's every single night. If Luka has a bad game, odds are Mavericks aren't winning unless Kyrie goes off. Cheyenne is fine from his extended vacation.
But how's the gooning trip?
Oh, his audio is not connected. All right, well.
We have too many fucking audio breaks and shit, bro.
By the way, this is a hell of a game going on right here between Houston and Texas A&M. Overtime, 3 minutes left.
Shed
is about to pull up right now. He's counted on the perimeter. Chucks up a 3. He gets fouled. Gets bailed out.
Oh, I just know the Texas A&M shot. Holy fuck.
Houston. Looks like Houston's gonna win. But
for over. How long's left?
Cheyenne, is your audio back? I don't think his audio is. I can't hear him. Well, I think he said Luka, right? So we have 2 votes for Luka.
Yeah.
1 vote for Shea. All right,
Classy
2 votes
Cheyenne,
for Luka. Cheyenne is just gone, disappearing. But I think that's a pretty good episode. Pretty good spot to end it right there. Got into.
We gotta watch the end of the game real quick, bro. I gotta watch the end of this.
We do gotta watch the end of this Texas A&M and Houston game, but we'll end the podcast episode right here. We thank you for watching episode 7 of
listening. Yep.
Got into some college there. Talked about college.
Fun episode today.
To the NBA. Oh, Cheyenne is
2
back.
Cheyennes.
Hello.
2 Cheyennes on the screen now,
just
bro.
in time for the outro.
Can you hear me?
In time for the
Wait,
outro.
hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
All right.
Shay, you said Luka, right?
Yeah, Luka.
All right. We have 2 votes for Luka, 1 vote for Shay. Let us know down below.
Yep.
Who you'd rather have, Shay or Luka. But that'll do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoy the NCAA tournament, the rest of it, and your brackets go better than ours did. Make sure to like.
Mine.
Make sure to like, follow. Maybe we'll throw up that tournament group again so people can join if they still want to.
This is second chance, right? Second chance thing.
There's a second chance. We'll make it.
We'll put that up. Yeah.
But make sure to tune in next time to see who's winning the group. The next time we'll
let you know. Yeah.
We'll shout out
a prize
first
of love, bro. We're gonna show love. That's the prize.
We'll give you this. All right. But we thank you for watching today's episode, and I hope you tune in next week to talk some more college basketball as we get into the Final Four and then get into the home stretch of the NBA season right here. Only a couple games, boys. Then we got the NBA playoffs. This is one of the best times of the year, and we're just coming up on the.
We love it.
Yep, so excited. March. It's It's gonna be some good basketball.
Yep. It's time for the Lakers to finally make their championship trek. But with that,
Exactly.
you out. Thank you for watching episode 7. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And we'll
Yep.
see you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Love
you.
you
Have a
guys.
good